Hello, and welcome to the Coaches Cup podcast. I am Sonya Green with Sonya Green Coaching.
And I am Coach Judith Fender, one of the amazing coaches with the No BS weight loss program.
Today, we're going to tackle something that we hear almost as much as we hear busy, right?
I think they go together.
They do go together. You're absolutely right. What is it that we hear, Judith?
Oh, I don't have time to take care. I don't have time to do self-care. I don't have time to meditate, Coach Judith. I need to take, I could find 30 minutes, but then I would have to do this and I would have to do that and da 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 da.
Mhm. And we say this all the time, but I feel like I'm a little bit in mom mode. So I apologize ahead of time.
I'm sitting straight up already. Today, like, let's do it.
Gonna preach here. But nobody magically finds time for taking care of ourselves. I don't do it. You don't do it. A hole with an extra hour a day didn't open up when I retired or when you worked from home.
I'm nodding my head in agreement for y'all.
Yeah, it just does not happen.
It does not.
And so if you're serious about self-care, you have got to find 5 minutes a day. Nobody said 30, nobody said an hour. You've got to start by finding 5 minutes a day to get serious about it.
Well, so let's get specific then. Like, what are we talking about? Like, are we defining self-care? What are we looking for when we say self-care?
Well, I'll tell you what I mean, and then you can follow up and fill in all the holes that I leave. But when when I am getting somebody, if somebody's coming to me and they're paying me to coach them, then I know that they're not going to spend hours a day. That's not what they're coming to me for. But they've got to be willing to give me 5 minutes as we get started.
Okay.
And those 5 minutes, it can take a couple of different forms. You've already mentioned meditation. Some days, maybe it's 5 minutes to meditate, to empty your brain, to close off from everything else, turn off every distraction, and just have that 5-minute time to breathe and let go. Maybe it's 5 minutes for journaling. It can take different forms, but if you don't have 5 minutes in your day, number one, what?
I'll say number one, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you, but
No.
fill in your hole. That's bullshit.
Right. It's just not the case. If you really don't think you have 5 minutes a day, then you've got too much business.
Well, you're telling yourself a bunch of fat lies.
Yes.
Because I know you're on the internet, you're scrolling your Facebook, you're watching movies, you're watching the news for the third hour of the day. And seriously, do you really need to be doing all that? Or do you need to be up in your employee's business and gossiping in the back room or whatever it is that's going on? You're just making up excuses because maybe you don't want to feel the disappointment of yet another day that you didn't get the results that you wanted to create for the day.
Yeah. Or the discomfort of sitting with your thoughts. I think you mentioned this when we talked about being busy, but people buffer with busyness. They buffer because they don't want to face, not everybody. I mean, some people just get distracted. I mean, we all get distracted, right?
Of course.
I find myself on my phone sometimes and I'm like, whoa, what was, I wasn't supposed to be doing that.
100%. Where do we get this material from, y'all?
Yeah. Exactly. We all do it. But if you are going to get serious, especially if you're already investing in coaching with someone, if you're already spending money on a program or something, then you owe it to yourself. You owe it to your dreams to give it 5 minutes a day at least.
My thoughts are too, and w- I've had this several with several clients, is I think it just really becomes very loud and blatantly obvious in the coaching session when you're on your fifth or your first or your 15th session, and it's the same thing over and over. It starts becoming stereo, and the client, you can hear the awareness. Sometimes they catch on,
Yeah.
but I do believe that catalyst for change can happen through the coaching process, because you are wanting the results, you are wanting the time, you are wanting to make time for the meditation, the journaling, the planning, the creating the results in your life. And it just gets a little louder when
Yeah.
you show up at coaching.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. And I have had clients that I felt sure, I don't know if I should say it that way or not. I have had clients that I suspect have been throwing money at their problems rather than throwing time at their problems
Right.
for a while now.
Like the resources, like
Yeah.
exactly. And the one thing, like, you may always have more money, but you're not going to get any more time, including, the 5 minutes to just breathe, like, right? Like
Yeah.
last week's
When
podcast.
you talk about that, yeah. You were gonna say what you do when you talk about self-care.
What do like me personally? Did I say that?
Well, we were talking, you asked me what I mean when I was talking about self-care, and so I said I would explain what I mean, and then you could follow up and explain what you mean by self-care.
Mm. Well, I guess for me, self-care really is managing sensory overload, right? My personal self-care is listening to relaxing music, getting out in nature more, at least 15 minutes a day. 30 is ideal. And if I can get a hike in, that's even better. A 2-hour hike in the evening, nothing makes me happier. We were talking about the getting darker sooner.
Yeah,
Not looking forward to that either, because that's my evening hiking time.
yeah,
Um, and of course, journaling and planning.
yeah. Yeah, I don't always get as much time as I would like. I schedule in about an hour every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes different forms depending on the day and what I need. But the thing that I'm always consistent with is that is focus time for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's focus time for me to work on my goals in whatever way I need to. Sometimes I need to get still and quiet and just let my brain kind of decompress.
Mm-hmm.
Other times, I take a walk and listen to a podcast, or maybe even just listen to classical music or some kind of music.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in my perfect world, what I really try to structure every day is an hour. But I didn't start that way, and you don't have to start that way. You start with 5 minutes.
Agreed. Agreed. I don't know how many more ways we can come in at this. If if you're wanting the time, you will find a way. And I like to say, put a pin in it.
Yeah.
You have 5 minutes in the day where you can put a pin in it. You can shut the door, turn off all sound, be with yourself. You could
Tell
do a
your
med-
family, I'm taking 5 minutes. What,
yeah. There
tiny.
are no excuses. You can go sit in your car.
Mm.
But the convenient
Yeah.
thing is to tell the story that I don't have time, and to make all the ways that you're a victim in
Mhm.
your own life, when it's all your own choices.
Yeah.
And
No, I coached a mom who did that. She went out in her car in the garage and closed the door.
good for her.
And that was her time.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's all a story. when the rubber meets the road, you have to act. We can't make you schedule time for you. We can't, there's nothing that we can do. You have to put it into motion.
Agreed.
Yeah. And until you do, you're not going to get the results that you deserve. So you're
Well,
changing yourself.
Well, and then this is going to roll into what our next podcast, what we're going to be talking about, and that's right.
Yeah, give a little preview.
The disappointment.
Yeah, it does.
And when disappointment can become toxic.
Yeah. All right. So we haven't given a call to action in a while, but I think what I want to encourage everybody to do is to put down on your calendar, in your phone, whatever you plan on, schedule 5 minutes right now. Stop whatever you're doing. If it's late in the day today, schedule it into tomorrow. If it's, if you have time to be listening to us today, this is probably a shorter podcast. So, hey, turn her off.
I had the thought today and I totally forgot, but I thought, oh, Sonya, you need to put 5 minutes of meditation music in the podcast so they have no excuse right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I don't have anything that is not licensed that I can queue up really quickly. So rather than us being charged
5 minutes of silence.
Yeah. Schedule it, folks. And you know what? For those of you who say, if you want to hold on to that excuse, I don't have the time, then finish that thought by saying, I don't have the time to create my dreams. And see how that feels.
Or you get curious, just get curious. I wonder, where can I find 5 minutes today? It's possible.
Yeah, I have actually had clients that I have asked to chart their day. Just chart your day tomorrow. Everything you do, if you go to the bathroom, if you make the kids lunch, if you drive them to school, everything. And I guarantee you'll find 5 minutes in there.
100% with and then some.
Yeah, no, I usually that's a very shocking assignment, and they don't need to do it for more than one day because they realize where the time is. Spend it on yourself, folks. We believe in you and we believe you're worth it. All you got to do is believe the same thing. All right. Anything else?
I'm good.
Okay. If you are looking for coaching, if you want somebody to help you find that time in your day, then you can find me at sonyagreencoaching.com.
And you can find me on Instagram, just Judy, Judie. And you can find me working at the No BS Weight Loss Program.
You can also find us on the Coaches Cut Podcast Facebook page. We like to have lots of fun there. People bring in their comments. We'd love to hear how you find time for self-care. What creative ways have you come up with? Because we didn't say it was a simple thing. We all have busy, quote, lives, but how have you carved out time for yourself in your day? All right. Well, we'll be back next week. You've already let the cat out of the bag talking about disappointment.
Wow.
We'll see you then.